Okay, this video is for the final portion of the course. This is your video for the PowerPoint of your capstone project, and it's within Module 5, and that's where you're going to upload that PowerPoint. At this point, you have done modules A through E in the sense of creating and combining materials together. You have uploaded that material. You've also created a combined narrative document that you've uploaded in here, Module 5. And that is the combination of all the previous sections that you've done, including the executive summary, into one document that I can read through. And that would be something professional quality that you would give to someone who actually has to make a decision about a law or regulation. Now comes the easy part. This is where you simply create a PowerPoint to say the same thing that your narrative document said. So this is really not a complex thing. Um, when you submit that PowerPoint, you'll upload it just like you've done before with the other documents. Now, for the PowerPoint, there are a couple of essential things that you must keep in mind. I want you to treat this as though it is something that you would be presenting to a group of people that have to make some decision about the law or regulation you have evaluated, and you're actually presenting it to them. So it has to be that level of quality. It has to be concise, and it has to be something that people would be interested in seeing. And remember, the PowerPoint's not going to give as much information as the narrative does. The narrative is where you're giving all the sordid details about everything. PowerPoint is something where you're just actually presenting the material, obviously. So instead of using sentences, you're going to use key words to explain each part of your capstone evaluation project. All right? So you are not, and I repeat, not going to simply copy paragraphs and paste them into PowerPoint slides. That is not going to happen because that is not a quality PowerPoint. What you will do is use one slide for each section of your capstone project. Okay? So just like you had different sections you had to complete, you just create a new slide and limit yourself to that, and you're only going to use some key terms in there to kind of label what you're actually talking about. So you can still break down some of the detail, but avoid using sentences in the PowerPoint. Okay, you want this to be short and sweet. If what your conclusions are, you can bullet point those because you're not using bullet points in your narrative document. This is where you really just kind of give the highlights and make it interesting, and think of it as though you're trying to sell this to somebody and encourage them to want to go through and really read that. So treat this process seriously. Do provide a separate slide for each section of your narrative document. However, do not simply copy the sentences and paste them in there. That just doesn't make sense. If you have some very powerful or compelling data, statistic, something like that, feel free to create a slide just for that and kind of paste it onto the slide. That's fine. But again, let your narrative speak for itself, the narrative document. Don't try to duplicate that in the PowerPoint by simply copying and pasting sentences in there, because people that do that on PowerPoints lose their audience, because then they're having to sit there and read all that detail instead of reading the detail in your document. You want it to be professional. You want it to speak for itself. You want it to be intriguing, and just have it do that. All right? So that should be it. I appreciate all of your attention in the course. I know it's a lot. I hope that you have reached out to me as needed. and I wish you all the best. I think that going through this process, you have gained hopefully some skills that most people that implement public policy have never had, and I hope that it will open doors for you in your career. Thank you, and please keep in touch.